What's up, guys? Welcome back to Verified Profits. I'm Eric and I'm here to give you the UFL Week 10 VP Power Rankings and all 4 game picks. It's the last week of the UFL regular season 2026 and I'm glad I was here every week to give you the rundown and all the game picks. Every team, every game, every week. Super sad to see it done already in a flash. It was an epic season though. Kind of a roller coaster, anyone's game. The parity of the league is pretty top tier. To make it a little more special, I'm going to throw in some extra backgrounds like that. And then you get some really crazy ones like that one. But like this one. So keep watching. Make sure to hit that follow, the like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you think. Let's get into the VP Power Rankings. Run it! Number 1, Orlando Storm. Number 2, moving up a spot from last week, St. Louis Battlehawks. Number 3, also moving up a spot from last week, Louisville Kings. Number 4, the highly contentious number 4, DC Defenders. Staying there mainly because of their defense. Number 5, the Houston Gamblers. They seem to have a little more strength than some of the other teams. Number 6, Birmingham Stallions. Number 7, which could basically be a tie for number 8, Dallas Renegades. And on the other end of that tie, number 8, Columbus Aviators. Now you got the power rankings. Let's check out the results from last week's picks. DC Defenders in week 9 thought they could take it, downgrade the Storm. They started out really strong, but then they stalled out after the first quarter, and the Storm took it. For game 2 of week 9, we had Columbus to fly away with the dub and send the Stallions to the stable, and they pulled it off. Wow, probably the most fun game of the week, and we cashed. Let's go. Game 3 from last week, Dallas Renegades could not take it. They were doing so great until Austin Reed threw an interception, and then it was just downhill from there. In game 4 from week 9, St. Louis Battlehawks, Ballhawks, squawking their way to a dub, cashed it. So you got your VP power rankings, and you got your results from week 9. Now it's time to hit up the week 10 VP game picks. Hit that like button, run it. First up, game 1, Friday night, May 29th, on Fox at 8 o'clock. Dallas Renegades gonna head up to play the St. Louis Battlehawks. First up, let's talk about Dallas Renegades. Their head coach, Rick Neuheisel, I've been hyping him all year, even though they haven't been winning. That dude is a great coach. Top tier. He used his super challenge, super smart. Negated a huge punt return touchdown, took it off the board. That was a good call. Everybody saw it, so I'm glad he threw out the red challenge flag. Renegades offense stayed strong all game until Austin Reed threw a pick, and then it all went downhill fast. Austin Reed, that quarterback, is great. He dialed in dime, tuz, always scoring right off the bat. He delivered a fire dime in the fourth quarters, but then threw an ugly, nasty pick right after. So he was benched late in the fourth quarter, and the quarterback, Luke Lennon, came in for garbage time. The dude's got legs. He's not the worst passer. Keeps the other defenses off balance. Running back Merriweather, the bell cow beast. Huge, long gasher run off the bat. Then got all shook up after. Wasn't good because running back Day Hunter was already out. So Lorenzo Lingard started getting some reps. Wide receiver Tyler Vaughn's, that dude, opening tud grab. Always clutch. Love watching that dude. I think Tyler Vaughn's is easily a candidate for a 2-tud game if Austin Reed's throwing it. Not too sure about Lennon though. Last week, tight end Curtis Hodges. The dude is a skyscraper, 6'7" beast. Cashed in with an anytime tud. Thanks, Hodges. Renegades' run stop was pretty strong last week, forcing fumbles. Secondary gave up some big passes. Next up, St. Louis Battlehawks. Their head coach, Ricky Prohl, that dude is a high vibe, energy, motivating coach. Excellent first season. He exceeded my expectations. And I'm a huge fan because I played Tecmo Super Bowl and the Cardinals. Ricky Prohl, baby. That's right. Still play that game. Battlehawks offense, not very dominant, but they were productive. And the Spring King quarterback, Luis Perez, had only one passing tud, had a real nasty pick, but he threw for over 230 yards and he had a decent completion percentage. Mostly because their wide receiver, Yaquid Butler, catching everything, getting tuds, slithering through the defense, any high point skyscrapers. Dude rocks. Battlehawks defense last week, not super notable, but their pass rush got 4 sacks, and their secondaries got hands. The Battlehawks, ball hawks. But are the Battlehawks gonna play it easy? They gotta get prepared for the playoffs. I really think Dallas is gonna show some strength and put up them points. We all deserve to have an Austin Reed good, feel-good story. Come on now. Let's see Dallas win 65-13 or something crazy. So for game 1, week 10, we're going to take Dallas Renegades. Game 2, Saturday, May 30th at 3 o'clock on ESPN2. Houston Gamblers heading over to play the Birmingham Stallions. Let's talk about Houston Gamblers. Head coach Sumlin, even with those crazy eyes, he's still a pretty great coach. For their offense, I don't really like the whole 2 quarterback system. It just is, you need consistency. They're not very productive, but their quarterback, lefty loony, Hunter Deckers, I'm a lefty too. He had like a fumble botch, bad snap, but still threw a dime tud. But then of course they want to sprinkle in a little bit more of their quarterback, the Houston Scrambler, JRP, Jerp, John Rice Plumlee, Jerp. He threw a super nasty pick. Their running back, Marcus Yarns, that dude is super explosive and so fun to watch. I hope he gets into the NFL this year. And how about wide receiver Javante Payton? Yeah, underrated. That dude is awesome. Their offensive line gave up 4 sacks last week. They had 1 sack and they had 1 interception. Now let's talk about Birmingham Stallions. I was never quite on the AJ McCarron train. I was hoping he could show a little bit of excellence, show a little bit higher of a vibe, a little more positivity, and it was the opposite. He had thrown some challenge flag last week that was not even challengeable, but then for some reason they still reviewed it and stopped the game to review something that wasn't even challengeable. It was just, it looked petty. It was kind of ridiculous. I didn't like what they did to Matt Corral, and I don't like hearing AJ McCarron still throw Matt Corral under the bus like that. So I was never really all about DTR either, because that guy wasn't even starting for a reason. I think he's a little bit arrogant, a little too ball hoggy, and he's too much of a scamperer. Threw a pick right on the opening drive last week, was throwing some real risky nasties, especially during the end with a game-tying opportunity drive. Real risky nasties. Weeks ago when McFarland seemed to go missing, that running back, Ty Davis-Price, I told you, underrated, explosive, great ball carrier vision, great candidate for an anytime tud, any game, any week. Wide receiver Deion Kane, that dude is such an NFL wide receiver. Skyscraper, high point, tall, strong hand, beast. Wide receiver Mickens, that dude is so fun to watch. Kept them high vibes all season. That is the kind of vibes you want. Birmingham started out pretty lucky there with a backwards pass tip, dropped it, and they scooped and scored. But the run stop got gashed all game. Their pass rush could not get any sacks. The secondary caught a tipped interception, but they gave up 3 passing tutties to a quarterback that hasn't even been playing that long. And their special teams, extra point, blocked, return for a point. The Stallions roster has always been stacked. Gilmore, gotta have a huge shout out. That dude's great too. There's no way I'm gonna take Birmingham. No way. No way. No way. Gamblers, they're gonna lefty loony and they're gonna Houston scramble, take the dub, and those Stallions are gonna giddy up their way back to the stable with an L. Game 3, May 31st at noon on ABC. Orlando Storm gonna head up to play DC Defenders. Let's talk about Orlando Storm. The head coach, Anthony Beck, the dude's still a cool beast. Always consistent. I love it. Quarterback Jack Plummer throwing opening drive tutties. That dude is definitely a candidate for the MVP of the 2026 season. Throwing multiple passing tuds, scamper slither, super fast for a quarterback. Wide receiver Chris Rowland, the Amon-Ra St. Brown of the UFL, 62-yard yak tutty. That dude caught it and just whoop, whoop. Dude was gone. Solid wide receiver Elijah Badger. That dude is great to watch. He's super fun. He's like a little DeAndre Hopkins. Wide receiver Cam Camper. We had him as an anytime tud last week. Definitely cashed that one in. The Storm's run stop got gashed quite a bit, but their pass rush made up for it with 3 sacks. Now let's talk about DC Defenders. A rematch of last week coming up, but it's going to be in DC. Might end up being a whole different game. Came out strong last week in the first quarter, but then just stalled out. Quarterback Spencer Sanders, low experience, but the dude is getting pretty good. Didn't throw any passing tuds, but he didn't throw any picks either. And he led the team in rushing. Little Scamper Sanders. But overall, a little lackluster. I want to see Jason Bean. Everybody wants to see Jason Bean. He was dishing it out, throwing everybody everything. The green bean casserole. Everybody was eating. And then he got traded. Let's see what he can do. Running back Deion Jackson, explosive right out the gate with a big tud. Wide receiver Cornell Powell, that dude has clutch hands. Such a good wide receiver. Kiki Kuti had a huge catch, but only 1 reception. Tight end Fairchild made sure to catch every target he had because he had that game-losing drop of a wide-open tud pass right in his hands. He dropped it. So I think he's going to make up for it the rest of the season. DC O-line giving up multiple sacks. Defense was getting exploited. Normally it's pretty top tier, but they gave up 3 passing tutties in the first half. Pass rush only had 1 sack. They did have a wild chance for the kicker Matt McCrane to go for a 4-pointer. I think it was 67 yards, but missed it. Still fun to watch. How about DC's punt team with their fake punt? That was an awful timing, super weak choice, and they had like the weakest scamperer try to convert. I really can't see Orlando trying to win this one with playoffs next week. DC, they do have a pretty dominant defense, and they have an okay enough offense for them to take the dub and downgrade the Storm to the category L for loser. And for the last game of the last week of the regular season, Sunday, May 31st at 6 o'clock on Fox, Louisville Kings are going to go play Columbus Aviators. Let's talk about Louisville Kings. Started out a little sloppy last week, but they did stay productive enough to keep a lead into the 4th quarter. Chandler Rogers with a little sneak around quarterback tutty. That was pretty smart, pretty nifty, and he did dial some dimes with a couple passing tuds. James Robinson, that running back, so strong, but oof, had a fumble at the goal line. Again, Robinson. They robbed him, but also their running back Ian Wheeler, super explosive, also had a fumble right at the goal line. He got punched out before he crossed the goal line, went out the back of the end zone, and in the UFL, I hate this. They give the ball back to the team that fumbled it. In the NFL, it's a touchback turnover. You got to really protect that ball at the goal line. And I can't believe we had to see it again go through that dumb rule, because that should have been Dallas's ball. Would have been a totally different game. Their wide receiver, Tariq Black, hype, living up to it with multiple tutties. Tariq went off. Wide receiver Isaiah Winstead, clutch beast. Not too much to talk about with the defense, but of course they at least got an interception. They were playing Austin Reed. Last time he threw 4 picks against the Kings, but they only came up with 1 this time. Punt returner, wide receiver Lucky Jackson, that dude's so electric. Had that big old return tutty from the punt. Called back. still, he's explosive. Now let's talk about Columbus Aviators. Last week it was extremely disgraceful of the UFL to get bumped on the network to show softball. For almost half the game, we had to watch softball. Mike Rapoli, do something about that. There were turnovers, blocked extra points, all sorts of stuff we missed. Softball. Thanks, ABC. The Aviators just seemed to give DTR and the Stallions whatever they wanted. For me to be a fan of the defensive coordinator, Captain Munnerlin, I'm going to have to see much better than what I've seen so far, because that defense was actually pretty atrocious at times last week and throughout the whole season. I think if Todd Haley was the head coach, it would have been a whole different thing. They might have had more dubs this season. I don't even know where Todd Haley was during the whole game. He wasn't calling the plays. He was out there, but he wasn't calling the plays. Maybe giving his guys a little bit of reps to see what it's like in the coaching world. Get their feet wet. Their quarterback, Jalen Martin, new, fresh, backup starter. Step aside, McClendon. We got a new scamperer. Threw a backwards pass, got tipped. Aviators gave up a tutty right away. That was ugly. But then he threw 2 passing tutties in the first half, and I kind of like him. He seems like a big predator beast of Jalen McClendon, but a little more efficient, a little quicker, and a little more durable. Maybe won't fumble at the goal line as much. And he's got a cannon. The pregame shots, he was throwing it like 75 yards, and he said he could throw it 100. And he's got some finesse to float it in over the defenders. He had 3 passing tuds in the first 3 quarters, threw a tip pass interception in the 4th quarter. That was rough. Running back John Lovett, we love it. Dude's got hands as a running back. Multiple tuds catching the ball. He had that one bobble to himself. Scored. Beautiful. Wide receiver Tay Martin getting opportunities no matter which quarterback's out there. Wide receiver Kiki Chisholm, clutch hands, 2-point conversion to tie the game. Dude is such a great wide receiver. He's slap-salutely amazing, a slap-salute stud. The Aviators defense really came out strong in the second half last week. Pass rush sacked DTR 4 times, and their secondary had a pick on the opening drive. With their special teams, blocked the extra point, took it back for a point. They were a little confused, didn't know if it was 2 or 1. We had conflicting opinions of how many points that was worth. The Aviators punter got hurt, so their place kicker had to be the punter for the rest of the game. If they could have had a more solid defense this season, would have been a totally different outcome. Canton. A big part of me could totally see the Aviators pulling another upset, because I think the Kings might be in, even if they lose, above Birmingham, I don't know exactly. Based on just strength, motivation, the will to finish the season strong, I do think Columbus Aviators are going to fly away with the dub and take the crown from the Kings. It's going to be a great game. So there you have it. Week 10, UFL, the VP Power Rankings, the results from last week, and all 4 game picks for Week 10. It's been an excellent time all season getting to cover every team, every game, every week. I really appreciate you guys for hanging out, following, like, subscribe, sharing the videos, leaving those comments. I love seeing what you guys have to say, and I think this UFL is growing. We're going to have a better year next year, and it's going to keep getting better. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe. Check out the band Peninsulas. It's my music project, and it's the background music to these videos. Really appreciate you guys. What a great season. This was super fun to do. I was glad to be here. I made it a goal because I really love this community. I love seeing this growth. I love seeing the investment. I love seeing everything getting better, and it has a really great effect on football and the game in the NFL too. Again, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Smashing that follow and the like on the way out. UFL Week 10, Verified Profits, Spring Football 2026 season finale. Let's go!